Mr. MKL here. Yo, we got the update, folks. It happened. It's really happened. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? This is unreal. I'm actually surprised it came out this soon, to be perfectly honest. I stopped keeping tabs on Steam database to figure out when it was being pushed into release mode, but hot damn, it's here. It's here on a frickin' Tuesday evening. Why not? I have not actually taken a look at the patch notes yet. Okay, big update, technical and on an aesthetic level. Aesthetically, we've changed the 3D shaders as well as the 3D models for several characters to improve their graphics. Yes, I'll take that. That's nice that they're actually paying attention to that stuff and they're still working on it. They did a huge update a while back, but haven't seen anything that recently. All right, what do we got? We've added new costumes. New costumes. It's about damn time. Grave, Jaina, and Satsuki get some extra costumes. Updated the game engine to a version of Unity that's 3 years newer than the version we were using, and this allowed us to fix some long-standing technical issues with controllers, as well as fight sticks on Linux. Good. Yeah, new storefront, but I would love that, man. I'm not a fan of how the storefront runs, but you know what? If they're pushing more content to it, I'm okay with that. New feature on Steam. Allows you to assign which controllers player 1, player 2. I like this. I like this. Nice little UX addition there. Finally, some long-requested balance changes in the patch, of course. When using a cartoony style, often a few distinct shades of darkness and shadows. Before, we had the issue that the boundary between these areas, like between shadows on the skin and the non-shadow part of the skin, were irregular and grainy looking. Worse than that, when the character is in motion, the boundaries would swim around and appear watery rather than have hard lines like you'd expect. All gone with the new shaders. So that's actually a big update. Crisp, hard lines of shading on the new version. The grainy, blurry regions are gone. That's cool. Yeah, for real, eh? Yo, he got you can just wash your clothes on that thing. Stone wash some jeans. Holy heck, man. Yeah, the new version of Unity is obviously a performance-enhancing engine. Okay, highlights the new one's hair, make the pop and shine compared to the flat, blah-ish shading. I love that they actually use the term blah-ish shading. And they got resculpted too. Man, this is actually a pretty significant visual update. Some of the changes might seem pretty subtle, but all told, that's a lot of work that's being put into it. Yo, take a look at Rook here. For sure, yo, those vines are so much more defined. I like them a lot more. I kind of like the chiseledness on the old Rook better, to be perfectly honest, but definitely crisper looking all told. Yeah, Rook had a problem with the grainy, blurry boundaries. I guess it would be much worse in motion, yeah. Looking at the legs, definitely the vines, very nice, they pop so much. Definitely shows off the shading on the arm in particular. But yeah, right? Taco, here, let's go back to Rook. You're right, he looks too smooth now, right? Part of, they're talking about their visual update and how they've made it so that it used to be kind of blurry and it would swim together, and now they've made it, really sharp edges to match the cartoony, almost kinda cel-shaded style, right? And so you got, fucking, look at this, look at, Graves' abs there are insane, right? It's, super chiseled, right? And you would think that the man literally chiseled out of stone would look more chiseled under the new system, and yet he's just had a freaking buffer run over his face, and they've rounded him out. Even the cracks almost seem less apparent. The vines, totally, they buffed the visuals on the vines. But I don't know, man, the rest of it, I'm kind of looking at it some of the old ones better. Yo, Satsuki. I really like that, actually. Her entire face is better defined and kind of, I don't know, it's yo, we buff vines visually. Yeah, that's the only buff vines is gonna get. That's my bet. Yo, the new hair is really nice. I'm excited to see how this works with the other costumes. She definitely looks less pissed. She looks more like she's done with your shit. She's like, I don't know, I don't see the mutton chops, Ducky. Okay, alright, I see the mutton chops. It actually looks way more pronounced on the one on the right. Yo, I don't know. That looks pretty sick. Legitimately. Finally, I was kind of disappointed in a lot of the costumes initially, so... It even has the mutton chops in this costume. You can't get away from it, Ducky. Satsuki wants to speak to your manager. I love that Satsuki is like the, hey, we're at the I don't give a fuck point of Satsuki's life, right? She went from being, where is she? She went from being mad at the world. Look at that. Like she had her lip up. She was like, I'm gonna fight you, is what she was like. And now she is like, I'm so past this. You are all beneath me, right? Yes, get me your manager. I will have you reprimanded, my young man. Her hair was always a problem. I'm not surprised. Never happy with the way it was modeled. Couldn't really figure out what to do until now. It's a lot less bananas and much more stylish. No, that hair is a definite improvement. But for sure, the new hair looks way better. Way more like real hair. New costumes. Ooh! Yo, the stealth ninja? Dang, man, why does Satsuki have such nice costumes? God, like, this is like the character I play the least. But, oh, I want those costumes. Yeah, and they gave him the Akuma beats, the dojo champion. Now we just need the demon flip into palm. That's what I want. Oh, and what is this, Midnight Archer? I mean, okay, I like that they went a different direction with Jaina's costume, but it's kind of bland. Like, there's not much there. I guess if you're going like Midnight Archer stealth style, not unlike how like the stealth ninja for Satsuki, then it makes sense like aesthetically and thematically. But man, I don't know. I want her to look badass. She does look very skinny. I will say that. She looks like itty bitty waif, break her over your leg kind of thing. I always figured Jaina for a bigger build than that. Maybe it was all armor all the time. Right, but look at this. Like, okay. It looks better in this than it did in the screenshot that they showed. But, like, I'm kind of disappointed that it's just pretty bland. Like, she's got some kick-ass boots. I would buy those boots for Mrs. MKL. The armor's nice. It's just so plain. It would be nice if there was, like, some kind of decoration. Think like like Graves' tattoo on his chest. Give me something like that, like a dragon emblem on her, like just like shaded either like dark red or one of the grays kind of like shimmering, right? That would be super sick. Yo, Black Ops Jaina, exactly. And that's what, like, I like the theme. I'm just like a little underwhelmed with some of the choices, especially in like just like the torso area. It just looks kind of bland. Like, the dojo pants are nice on Grave. I like that. The beads. That's some cool additions. I'm really glad, man. People have been begging for new costumes for so freaking long. Remember that we have taken the unprecedented step in the fighting game genre of making the gameplay of all of our characters free in online casual matches, online ranked matches, practice mode, one player versus AI. We hope you support us by buying costumes here and there so that you know it was the right choice to take the risk making the gameplay. You gotta do the free-to-play plug. I mean, I get it. It's gonna be in there. That's cool. And I really do hope people pick it up. I mean, heck, I got a ton of, like, frickin' in-game currency just sitting there. I'm gonna end up picking up these costumes. Sorry, Sterling, you're not getting more money from me, though, at this point. You're just getting my old money spent. New features. Alright, the one-player controller option is really good. It lets people... Granted, it's just gonna cause fights about which side people start on more often. But, you know, whatever. That happens. Intentionally make the keyboard both player 1 and player 2. Make it really easy to go into practice mode, which is super true. I love that. It's so frustrating when I go into other games and they don't do that. Yeah, and safety, man, you're right. If the storefront wasn't a lottery, you'd just go buy it. It's true. If I happen to see it, then I'll probably get it. But honestly, I don't go into that store that often anymore. I will now, just because I know there's something new, though. Which is why they need to be releasing more costumes and more colors regularly. I'm telling you, you could do some palette swaps, right? Like, I think it can be done. I'm glad they said that they fixed a bunch of the controller issues, like long-standing controller reading issues, and then they've added some side select options, character changes. Let's get into the bulk of it here. Grave Ground Super slightly pulls back its push box during the first few frames before the cinematic. to avoid the edge case where the push block incorrectly prevents. Okay, more consistent 2-hit supers from Grave. This is a good start. Versus Arg neutral A when slightly extended, such that Grave's ground super can't cinematic for no apparent reason when it can easily cinematic on idle Arg from farther away. Yeah, makes total sense. That's been, I don't know when exactly that was introduced, but this has been definitely an issue. If we could see the push box. I know. Unfortunately, I think that's like trade secret for Sterling Games though. Dr. At Martins, we're gonna see some pushback on the push boxes. Alright, Valerie fixed a bug where her forward A wrongly made her invulnerable to throws for some frames. Alright, I didn't even know that's a thing that was happening. Geiger, the 15th frame of ground C no longer has a white highlight because only the first 14 are invulnerable. Alright, so it was just a visual glitch that was showing that it was invuln for longer than it actually was. Ghost has a 1 second longer cooldown between uses. Oh, damn. Poor DeGray players already. Holy heck. No longer breaks armor. Rook's landslide and C-throw are now better against DeGray too. Oh wow, that's going to be really big in those matchups, especially against Oni. Ground Super has 3 more frames of startup. Now if he blocks Onimaru's forward A attack and Onimaru cancels that into a B, DeGray's Ground Super parry will not be active in time to hit it. And if DeGray tries to parry between the FA and the B, Onimaru can B again to hit DeGray with a 2 damage Spirit Fire. Hot damn. I mean, it makes sense, particularly in those matchups. I mean, DeGray was very oppressive towards Onimaru. I mean, you needed to do something to change that. And it's like, given the concerns people have with Onimaru, it makes sense not to buff Oni and just nerf the problem that Oni has, since it was just a matchup thing where people were swapping to DeGray in order to take on Onimaru, because it makes sense. Alright, Midori. Midori's empowered throw when he glows yellow after a parry is no longer allowed to grab and instantly destroy Quint's real illusions. Illusions in 2 truce mode. It just looked too weird. That's true, that is kind of awkward. Okay, this is the big one, guys. Quint, fix the sound bug. Good way to start. Super cooldown increase from 10 to 12 seconds. Okay, good. Less often you're gonna get super. Since he already has a way to get super back if he gets counter hit on air super, that's like totally fine. This makes absolute sense. He had so much meter, it makes no reason for him to. His fall to the ground after doing air C mirror is reverted to the slower fall that it was during the pre-release testing. Okay, that's another good one. He was able to do so much after the air mirror that was really good for mix-ups. This is going to be really interesting to see how these all pile up and like play out in a little bit. I mean, we have the tournament tomorrow, which I'm super excited about to see how this stuff changes. His back A, Truth Geyser, can no longer juggle as much. Thank you. No more like 8 juggles in the corner. Okay, only 1 additional juggle is possible now. And it can no longer bounce victims who were already bouncing. The most practical effect is that Quince can no longer do 3 damage against victims who are somewhat cornered when he lands back A 3 times. Now he only gets 2, or back A, B, A. The final A punch no longer hits. Okay. Yeah. Quince was so explosive. So freaking explosive. You had to do something to reduce the amount of damage he had, especially in a situation like that. I mean, it's not even that it's like you're completely cornered. It's like you're kind of sort of close to the corner, and Truth Geyser was just going to pound on you and melt away half of most characters' life. Like, it was kind of unreal. Okay, yeah, max in the corner is 3 to 4 now, and that's fair. Like, if you're topping out at 3 to 4, that's so much better. But like, you were getting 3 to 4 consistently, not in like optimal situations, right? Yeah, Quint seemed a bit too good. This is the developer comments. Quint seemed a bit too good, especially over time as players got better at taking advantage of his strengths. These nerfs will still leave intact most of why he's good, so they are kind of minor, but leave opponents with a lot more leeway. More time between his supers, more time to act after his air C, and avoiding taking a 3rd point of damage in some combos. Absolutely. This is basically like, don't take away why the character was awesome. He was awesome because he could do all of these things, right? He's just not going to completely melt you when he's doing them now, right? It's just like you get that extra chance, that extra 2 chances or he's forced to take a break because he lacks the resources now. I think that's a really good way to kind of scale him back a little without taking away what makes him so entertaining. Yeah, exactly, Hypergraph. Quince no longer randomly kills the opponent if he gets a hit in the corner. Like, that's what would happen. I mean, like, there's just... You could just kind of, like, hit a couple buttons and be like, well, what do you know? Onimaru. Back A sweep has more pushback so that when you cancel into Divide and Conquer on block, it no longer forces the opponent to block 3 times total. Good. Small tweak, little itty bitty tweak for all the people out there who are like saying that I want to destroy Onimaru and that I want you to stop having fun. Guys, small tweak, remove DNC loop, and then reverting his neutral A hitboxes to the older version so it was not a super great anti-air. First of all, it was already a pretty good anti-air before they buffed it. It really was. When he first came out, that's exactly what I said. I was like, yo, you want anti-air someone? Neutral A. It actually works in a lot of situations. Then they buffed it, and we're like, let's just make it the best freaking tool ever. And also make all of his other tools anti-air as well. So, taking the neutral A, which I think for a lot of the rushdown characters, that was a hard stop. Like, it was like, I will do the neutral A, and it'll take you out of a lot of your options. And so now there's going to be more of a guessing game and more of an opportunity to like condition players into choosing the riskier option that you have to kind of rotate instead of being like, I just got a Yomi or neutral A, basically, right? Yeah, reasonable hitboxes to hit a jumper, but not Dragon Punch-like immunity that he has had for the last few months. Thank you. I'm glad that they at least acknowledge that that's precisely what it was. The point of this change is so that he has to save his super more for anti-air rather than being free to use the super for reaction punishes only, which is, if you've seen any of the Fantasy Strike and Stun City events, you'll have seen Onimaru's just like tossing supers back and forth at each other in order to steal turns. It's just, it was unreal, and it was happening so often. So it's good. Like, you don't have that neutral button to just take up that slot. It's now resource dependent. I think that'll help change the pacing of the matches with Onimaru, which might help some of the frustration that a lot of players have when they encounter him. So solid changes all around. And look, 2 points. There's 2 things. This isn't nerfing your favorite buddy into the ground. This is a totally reasonable change that I'm really happy. I said it in one of my videos that some of the nerfs and the buffs were very heavy-handed in the last couple patches. But this patch is back to the old kind of patches where it was like, let's bring things into balance and let's be reasonable and not too aggressive with what we're doing in order to achieve our goals. I'm really happy that Hypergrav, that you're actually saying that Quince feels better now, right? Like, that's super nice to hear from a Quince player, right? I'd be interesting to see what the Oni gang thinks about the Onimaru changes. But like, yeah, that makes me happy. You know the character really well, you know the game really well, and if you're like, this works better for Quince, that makes me super happy. Yeah, frickin' A, man. I'm so happy it came out today. It gives people a chance to take a look at the changes at least and know something going into the tournament tomorrow. Okay, we got some more changes though. What, we got Boss Rush? Boss Rush changes. Oh, I haven't been into this mode in so long. It's so wild. Landslide hits twice to match the regular one. Setsuki's Sparkle is no longer completely unblockable for no reason. Good. Bonus, new language available for all the Russian players out there. Onimaru has a new DNC loop. I mean, why am I not surprised? I'm sure the videos will be out soon enough. Okay, a few more miscellaneous changes. We got the Russian language. Fixed a bug where the right side player of character select caused normal maps to be inverted. Fixed a bug on the right side of character select that caused Valerie's blue eyes to be rotated incorrectly. Real-time shadows on her face to look low-res and pixely, and the Mac version, the main menu now blurs correctly so the aesthetics match the other platforms. Cool. That's just a couple of like housekeeping updates there at the very end. But folks, this is actually a much smaller change list than I was anticipating, but super well targeted at like the problems that we were having, or the problems that the community at least felt we were having. I mean, people get upset about some of these characters, right? And it's like, regardless of what the state of the actual balance of the game is, it could be perfectly fine, technically speaking. But if your players aren't having fun with it, none of that matters. So I'm really glad they're addressing the kind of concerns that the player base was having. I mean, it's been a while coming, so it's nice to finally get it. Yo, yeah, ready to play? I think so. Am I actually able to get online now? I booted this thing up and it was like, you're unable to connect to server. Oh, sweet. Okay, I'm in. Oh, everyone's gonna be mad. Trust me, no matter what happens, no matter how reasonable, everyone's gonna get super pissed. It's gonna be delightful.